want to ask you a little bit about this program and how you came up with it, because all three are like war horses, big pieces, and I want to know how you feel personally about each piece and what brought them together for you.
Tchaik 5 is, in the end, it's one of the greatest masterpieces to me ever written. But it's one of those pieces, and we're familiar with these kinds of pieces where you say, would you like to listen to the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto? And you go, oh, not again. And then it begins and you say, okay, this is incredibly beautiful. But just the thought of it sometimes, especially for musicians or people who listen to music a lot, they say, oh, I don't want to hear that again, about several pieces. Until you hear them. And so I think Tchaik 5 is magnificent. Plus, I haven't been with all of you for quite a while, and to come together and do a piece that, if we just all have a great time with it. Because it's about so many different things. I mean, it's very tragic, deeply impassioned and tragic, but also tremendously brave and noble and heroic in many ways. So it sort of epitomizes the things that we love the most about music, which is that we can say these terribly awful, fatalistic things, and 15 seconds later we're saying something that's tremendously optimistic, and that is credible. It's not really in any other art form to the same degree. The kinds of juxtapositions we're capable of in music are rather unique. Yes. Okay, so that's the Tchaikovsky was there. The Beethoven 4, of course, this is some of the most sublime music ever written. I mean, I think the fourth concerto starts to get towards that serenity that we all love about the late Beethoven, the piano sonatas and the Ninth Symphony and of course the quartets. So the fourth concerto is very special. And then the question was, okay, so how do we start this program? And since we're dealing with one aspect of fate in the Tchaikovsky, I just said to Paul Rosenblum at Caramo, I said, why don't we do forza? There's no greater way to start a concert, really. And then you think about it, completely grabs everybody's attention, and it's one of the greatest masterpieces of any kind of concert overture. So there it was.
I love the way you talk about music, about all of the music, but in particular that Tchaikovsky, because as a musician who performs pieces like that a lot, after a while it really needs the right person in charge, who truly sees all the beauty and just loves it and tends to it the way it needs to.
In this Tchaikovsky symphony, I am so full of admiration at the detail, the concept of varying things just slightly, so it's never actually a repetitive sort of bombastic experience, and the different connotations for that. He creates so many different moods with that, says so many different things with it, and all of them are fatalistic.
Yeah.
Is it doom, or is it this? Is our fate to actually be victorious, or is it to haunt us, as it does in the third movement in the waltz when it suddenly appears? So I think that those kinds of details, and then bringing that together, feeling that the details are not just clinical, this is what we must do because that's what he wrote, but we translate them into something passionate and spontaneous.
Talking about St. Luke's, a lot of conductors will come for the first time, and after 20 minutes of us playing, they'll go, aha, I got it now. It's an orchestra of chamber musicians. Do you really see a difference in the different groups with whether they do get that chance to perform chamber music?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the whole idea that the greatest orchestras are just huge chamber groups is a very important one. And I think every member of any orchestra who has great respect for their own orchestra would consider it a compliment to be told, or to say even, we play like a great big chamber group, because there's something about the playing of chamber music that implies great care, attention to detail, sincerity, intimacy, great listening.
There's one other thing that I just want to say to you, and it's so simple, but I've always seen the the finest conductors, the finest musicians, they love their craft and they love music and they love in the moment what they're conducting. It's wonderful to experience, to feel that when you're sitting in the orchestra, and it makes a big difference.
Well, that's very nice to know. I mean, that comes from genuinely valuing the fact that I've been one of the few fortunate people, you and all your colleagues as well, who we do this, we play for a living, literally play.
Yeah.
We're playing,
Yeah.
and we're creating something quite extraordinary. So if we, especially from the podium, if on the podium the atmosphere is whatever, how could you expect everybody to give to you?
Yeah.
Whereas if you feel it and you share it, then the magic can happen.